Welcome to Vienna, and please join us as we explore some of the shore excursions that are offered by Viking Cruises that focus on music. Plus, we'll take a look at some other music venues that you can explore on your own. In this, the music capital of the world. Some of these excursions may not be offered on your cruise, so be sure to check the schedule. But there is a tour of the great composers of Vienna, of which there are many. There is a Mozart and Strauss concert, which involves a concert hall with period costumes. There is how to learn to do the Viennese waltz, which we had a little bit on our ship. And then finally, a premium tour that goes behind the scenes with the Vienna Boys Choir. Now, why is it called the music capital of the world? It's because of all the composers that made residence here, including Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, Johann Strauss, Johannes Brahms, Joseph Haydn, Gustav Mahler, Arnold Schoenberg, Franz von Suppé, Anton Bruckner, Alban Berg, and Anton Webern. So let's look at some music venues around the city, and we'll start with my favorite, which is the Vienna State Opera, or the Wiener Staatsoper. The opera building itself was part of the Ringstrasse development, and it opened in May 1869 with a performance of Mozart, Don Giovanni. The building was heavily damaged during World War II. It was reconstructed and reopened in November of 1955 with a performance of Beethoven's Fidelio. As you enter the foyer of the Opera House, you're greeted by just marvelous architecture, statues, and sculptures, all of which were rebuilt in 1955. The interior of the Opera House was also completely destroyed during World War II, and it was rebuilt in 1955 in the imperial colors of dark red, gold, and ivory. The crystal chandelier is also new, and it weighs nearly 6 tons. There are almost 1,700 seats, but there are 700 standing spots that you can see on the upper gallery here, and then also at the back of the auditorium. Now, if you want to go see a performance and don't want to spend much money, you can use the standing room seats, and they're available for around 10 euros. When you are walking around outside, be careful of the ticket vendors who are in costume. I recommend you buy your tickets directly from the official box office. Don't worry about which language the opera is in. Inside, each seat has a tablet added that will give you a choice of languages in which to watch the subtitles. Now, if you plan far enough ahead, you can get tickets for an opera on your free evening in Vienna, like this production of Don Pasquale that we happened to see on our cruise. Now, there's an interesting behavior in the European opera houses. This is just before intermission, and you can see all the seats that are filled. And then intermission comes, and everybody is gone. And it's just surprised us so much, but where did they go? Well, there are many tea rooms and places to get a nice glass of wine during intermission, and it appears that's just where everybody went. The Opera House also hosts the Opera Ball, which occurs in February of each year, and they actually pull the seats up and put a floor down for dancing. By the way, if you don't want to go to a concert, there are guided tours of the buildings at many of these venues that we see. Our next stop is the Musikverein, which is right next to the Albertina Modern on Karlsplatz. This neoclassical building was completed in 1870, and it's the home to the Vienna Philharmonic. The hall is dedicated to Emperor Franz Joseph I, the husband to the Empress Sisi. Now, this is the great hall, the Goldener Saal, which is known as the Golden Hall, and it's the most famous part of the Musikverein, and it has just exceptional acoustics. This is where they play the New Year's concert every year. Another trip, we wanted to go see a concert here, and we went and got tickets, and they said, "Oh, we're sorry, only these things are left for tonight." And it turned out we were actually sitting on the stage right next to the orchestra, and it was just an unbelievable concert. We even made friends with the bass players, which was quite amusing. One of the Viking shore excursions is the Mozart and Strauss concert, where you actually go to the Palais Augsburg for a concert by the Vienna Residence Orchestra. The residence orchestra is fairly new, and it was created in 1990 to expose more people to the music of Vienna. Now, if you're not really familiar with a lot of classical music, this is a good thing to go see because they play the music of Mozart and Strauss, and you will recognize many, many of the pieces that they do play. Now, there are many other concert venues in Vienna itself, and we'll take you through a quick list of them, and you can always check the Concerts in Vienna website to see if there's something you want to see at any one of these places. One such place is the Vienna Concerthaus, the Wiener Konzerthaus, and it has similar structures to the Vienna State Opera, and it probably is a little bit cheaper to go see things here. Also near the Karlsplatz is the Theater an der Wien, which is a concert house itself, and in 1803-1804, Beethoven lived here and wrote his Third Symphony. Not far from St. Stephansplatz is one of the many houses in which Mozart lived during his time here in Vienna, and you can get a concert by folks in period costumes. There are a couple of other venues that also offer stage plays as well as musical concerts, and the first of which is the Burgtheater, which is right across from the Rathaus, and the other is the Volksoper, which is on the way to Grinzing, the wineries. Now, there are other places in which music was of prime importance. The first we'll look at is Karlskirche. Mozart had his funeral mass here, and it was the requiem that he wrote, the Mozart Requiem. Sit back and listen and hear what it sounds like. There is also the Augstinerkirche, which is right near the Albertina, and we had the good fortune to hear a Christmas concert in there one year. Now, don't despair if you don't like classical music. There are jazz clubs in Vienna, and we went to Porgy and Bess, which was just delightful as well, and wasn't that expensive, 20 euros to get in. Another short excursion is waltz lessons, followed by a visit to the Mozart Vienna apartment. Let's start with the Mozart apartments, and this is where he lived when he composed The Marriage of Figaro. What I found amusing is the Salieri restaurant is right around the corner from Mozart's house, and Salieri was his antagonist. Also, there are a lot of other places in which Mozart lived in Vienna, and you may see plaques from time to time. Now let's turn our attention to the waltz lessons, and we had an introduction to that on board the ship before we got to Vienna.
Step to side and close back, and step to side and close right front, and step to side and close back, and step to side and close.
Now, the waltz lessons offered on the excursion are a little more comprehensive than that which we had on the ship, so you should do much better. You may even be able to come back at a holiday period and dance like the Viennese. Now it's time to take a look at the Vienna Boys Choir and this exclusive tour that takes you out to their boarding house, and you actually get to meet a few of them. You should note that this year, 2024, is the 525th year of the Vienna Choir Boys. Listen to them. You will get to see the grounds where they live, including their dormitories and classrooms. Also on the grounds are the concert hall, MUTH. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that is the home for the concerts for the Vienna Choir Boys. And if you don't take the tour, you might be able to catch a concert of them here. I believe they often there on Friday afternoons or Friday nights. It's a very modern place, just opened a few years ago. There is another way to hear the choir boys, and that's if you're here on a Sunday, you can go to the Musikverein, the chapel in the Hofburg Palace, and the Vienna Choir Boys on Sundays actually sing Mass there. There is an admission charge, but the Sunday we were there, they sang the Palestrina Missa Brevis. And a word is that you actually don't see the Vienna Choir Boys. They're off stage, so to speak, and you can see them after the Mass is over. And if you're very lucky, you can actually get a picture with one of them in the courtyard. Now we'll look at a couple things you can do that aren't concerts, but speak to the music heritage of the city itself. As you travel through the city, you'll see many examples of its musical heritage, including in the flowers, and they have their own Walk of Fame, similar to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. One really fun place is the Haus der Musik, which is an interactive exhibit, and you actually get to participate in making music and hearing music. The virtual conductor is really fun. You actually get to conduct the Vienna Philharmonic, and they follow your tempo as you wave the baton back and forth. There are rooms dedicated to the composers, including this one dedicated to Beethoven. Finally, you can go out to the Central Cemetery, which is a little bit from downtown, and you have to take transportation to get there. But it is where many, many famous composers are buried, and you can visit their grave sites. The cemetery church is quite impressive all by itself. Well, that does it for this tour of the music capital of the world, Vienna. We hope you enjoyed the tour, and please stay tuned for some other videos about other features of Vienna. So now sit back and relax and enjoy some other music from the holiday season in Vienna. While you're listening, it would be a good time to hit the subscribe button. It will help us out a lot if you do. Thanks.